Welcome to this episode of Learning Fusion. In today's episode, we're going to be covering retiming within Fusion. So let's go ahead and roll this intro and let's get into it.
We're learning Fusion together. We'll learn 2D stuff and 3D stuff and particle stuff and compositing stuff, deep pixel stuff and tracking stuff, but not other stuff, but some other cool stuff, cause we're learning Fusion together.
So here we are actually in the edit page, and when I'm talking retiming, I mean retiming like clips to speed up, slow down, or just change the time in general. Now, there's not a lot of functionality within Fusion to do a lot of this retime stuff. And to be honest with you, retiming within the editor cut page is usually a lot better. Now, the problem is, let's say we've got this footage and I believe it's slow already. Yeah, it's slowed down. So let's say we want to speed it up and then slow it down again, then speed it up. The easiest way to do this within DaVinci or within Fusion, not within Fusion, but within DaVinci, is just go up to our retime controls and we can find where we want it to speed up. Say we want to speed up there. We can just add a speed point. We want it to speed up. And then we want it to slow back down here. And then right here, we want it to speed up again. So click, add a speed point, and we want it to speed up going out. So we can just go in here, change this from 100 to say 400. And then change this one to 400 as well. So now we've got our retime clip. So it's playing slow, speeding up, slowing down, and then speeding up again. So we've got a retime clip. And we can always go to our little keyframes here and we can add some ease in and ease outs if we want. So there we go. Smoother. So there we go. We've got our retimed clip. Now the problem is say we needed to add some Fusion elements to this. And if we just have our clip selected, normally we could just select this Fusion button and we can go and start creating our little Fusion elements on here. The problem is this is no longer retimed. So if I push play, you can see it's all playing back at the original clip speed. And we could go here and media source. We've got our timeline picked, so you would think it would use our timeline speed, but it's not. The only way to actually get that change speed in here is if we go back to our edit page, right click and select new Fusion clip. Now it's a Fusion clip and we still have our retime in there. And if we go to Fusion with our new Fusion clip, our retime controls with our new speed changes will work correctly. So there we go. We've got a retime clip. And that is honestly the easiest way and the fastest way, I'm talking RAM and everything, to be able to retime your clips for Fusion. Now, if we wanted to do that within Fusion, we do have a few options. So let's go ahead and jump into Fusion here. And let's get our little media. Where are we at? There we go. We've got our little dancers. And let's say we wanted to retime this, and we can do it within Fusion. There are a few retiming nodes we can use in Fusion. And to actually get those keyframes to change our timing, the only one we can use is the time stretcher node. So shift space, time stretcher, and there we go. We've got a time stretcher node. Now just watch this, because wherever you put this node on their timeline is where it's going to create this first keyframe. So if I was on, say, frame 150-ish over here and added that node, it's going to add a keyframe on 150, and it's going to confuse you because you have a keyframe going back to 0 right here. Now, if we actually look at our time stretcher node, I push play, absolutely nothing's happening. It's not playing. It's because we have no animation with our source time here. And the way this node works is we tell it when to play what source time. So right now we only have a keyframe on source frame 0, so it's only going to play frame 0 going all the way through. And the easiest way to do this is we can double it up, put our original footage up there so we can see both of them at the same time, and we can find where we want to speed that up. So let's say right here at frame, what we at, 128, we're going to add another keyframe on our time stretcher. We're going to say 128. So now if I go back and play, it's playing the same speed as our original footage because it's just playing from 0 to 128 where we told it to play. And then it's going to stop because we don't have any more keyframes here. And if you want a more in-depth node breakdown on this actual node, because I'm just generally going over it, I'll put in the description all the nodes I go over, and you can check out the in-depth node breakdowns for each of these time nodes. So anyway, let's say we want to speed it up. So we want from frame 128 all the way to let's say frame 262 to be double speed there. Now we're going to have to pull out a calculator here to be able to calculate this because we need to figure out how many frames are from what we say 262 to frame 128. So we can get our trusty little calculator. 262 minus 128 equals 134 frames, but we want that to play double time, so we're going to hit divided by 2 equals 67. So what we want to do is we want to go 67 frames ahead. So we're at 128. So we can just say plus 128 equals 195. So we can go to frame 195 right here. And up here, type our original number, which was 262. So 262, enter. Now everything between here is going to play from 125 to frame 262 in this time frame. So it'll be sped up. So if I push play, you can see it's sped up. So there we go. Just sped up all those frames. And then again, it stopped because we don't have any other keyframes after 262. So if we go to their end, we've got what, 340 frames. So we would have to do some math to figure out our end, where our end was, and add our 340th frame. So we can go here on our time stretcher and say 340. So it plays the rest of our footage back. And there we go. So in essence, we just did the same thing we did with the time stretch or the retiming in the edit page, but you got to do a little more math and figure it out with keyframes. And we can still go to our spline editors here, and if we select our source there, we can still ease these in and ease these out if we want, just like we did. But this is how you would do it in Fusion. And it is a little more convoluted than just doing it in the edit page. That's why I say a lot of times it's easier just to do it in the edit page and then bring that Fusion clip in and do all your stuff within Fusion. Now there are a few different modes, and if you notice, this playback is way slower than it was in our edit page. And this is kind of the cheesy, crappy version using this blend, because if we look at our footage really isn't that smooth at all. It's got glitches in it, it's got double ups of the arms, and it's not that great. So if you wanted it even smoother, we could use this flow. And what flow is going to do is going to use an optical flow node to be able to calculate those frames so it plays back smoother. So then we would have to add a shift space optical flow, and it's going to use this vector data within this optical flow to make this time stretch a little smoother. But as we play it back, you can see it's way slower. So now we're using two nodes to recalculate our time within Fusion to get the same effect. We can get super fast on our edit page, just creating a Fusion clip right here. If you look, our playback is super fast, super smooth, and it looks good. And if we go to our Fusion clip here, play it back, you can see how much more memory intensive that playback is. So like I said, if you're doing simple retime things, just do it in the edit page, create a Fusion clip, go to Fusion and make your changes. So back into Fusion, let's cover some of these other time type nodes. So This is how you would actually do time stretch to add keyframes to change the speed slower or faster. You can even make it go reverse if you want. But we have a few other nodes to change our timing. So we've also got the shift space time speed node. And the time speed node is just simply going to change, let's go back to 1 here, change the overall speed of our footage. So it's going to take our footage and calculate it based on the speed we have. If we have 1, that means 100%. If I say 50% or 0.5, it's going to play back even slower. And if I say 2, it's going to play back 2 times as fast. And again, you notice it's pretty slow with your RAM and trying to composite that all together. And again, you're going to get these weird little things on your footage. So we do have the option again to use the flow node if you want. So we can use this optical flow, bring this in, and it'll do a little better job at calculating between frames to get it to look better. But if we notice on the time speed node, we have no animation right here. So we can't animate the speed to slow down, speed up, slow down, and speed up. That's the only problem with the time speed node. It's one time speed change. That is it. So let's stick that back up. So that's the time speed node. And the same as the time speed node, we also have the speed warp node. So shift space, speed warp. And what the speed warp node is basically the time speed node. But this is the DaVinci Resolve version. And this is what is being used within your edit page when we say change the timing of everything. We change our warp speed and all that stuff. It's basically this same node. This is exactly what it's using. And it is a little cleaner than the time speed node. So if we look and we change that to 0.5 to be even slower. If we kind of look at our footage here, let's find a place where they're moving fast. Right there. And we're also going to look at our little time speed node and make sure I put 0.5 so it's the exact same speed. If I look at this node, if you notice we've got that little hazing and the doubling up there. If I look at our speed warp node, it's nice and clean. So if you only want to change your time, because notice we can't change that time as well. Additionally, we don't have any other ways. We can't use the optical flow node on this one, but you can change your mode to be faster or better. But even at faster, it is a lot better than your speed warp or your time speed node. So let's look at our time speed node. We've got that little halation going on right here. If we look at our speed warp node, it's nice and clean. So if you're only changing your time, like your overall time, I would go with the speed warp node as opposed to the time speed node. And again, the only difference is this is a DaVinci Resolve effect available within Fusion, and this is an actual Fusion node. And they're both exactly the same, other than the time speed allows you to use optical flow. Speed warp does not. So that's another way to change your time. One other way to change your time is to use the stop motion node. So shift space, stop motion. And all this node is really for is to actually create the stop motion effect. And what it's going to do is allow you to change your frame repeat. So basically it's going to repeat every 5th frame. So there we go, just every 5th frame. If I say I want it to repeat every 20 frames, it's only going to repeat every 20 frames. So there we go. It's only playing every 20th frame, giving you that stop motion effect. Now you can also animate this if you want. So if you want to start out in the beginning at every frame, and then we can go to every 10th frame, and then we can go to every 20th frame. However you want, you can animate it all. And that is the stop motion node. So another way to change your timing in essence. Now there's one other timing node that really isn't a timing node, but it is a timing node. And to be able to show this, let's jump back into our edit page here and I'm going to shorten up our Fusion clip there. And we've got another clip. So let's say we want to create a title for our little Fusion clip here. So let's go back to Fusion. And on this node, let's go ahead and get rid of our media. Let's just add a text. Let's create a quick little title. So let's see what's happening. So I'm going to type title. There we go. We've got our title. And let's go ahead and add some animation here. So at frame 30, add a keyframe for our opacity and a keyframe for our transform. And then 30 frames out. So we're at 218. So let's go to 98. 98. Actually, we'd be at 88 if we wanted for 30 frames, I believe. 88. Let's go ahead and keyframe that. Go back to our shading, keyframe our opacity. And we're going to go to the end so we can fade this out. We're going to first transform it so we can see where we're at. And let's transform it to the end so it slides out. And change our shading. Let's go to the very beginning. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to transform it to the other side so it slides in. Go to our shading and knock that down to 0. So now we've got this awesome animation of our title. There we go. Now if we go back to our edit page, we push play, we've got our title coming in. Then we've got our title coming out. Now let's say we wanted this title to last the entire duration. We could change this and re-edit everything, redo our keyframes, or we can use a node to actually just stretch this or change the timing of our animation for our title. So let's go back to Fusion. And I'm going to hit Shift Space and add a keyframe stretcher node. And there we go. We've got a keyframe stretcher node. And on our keyframe stretcher node, what we want to do is we want to tell it from where to where we want our animation stretched. And if we look at our text node, between frame 30 and frame 88 is where we have our stagnant title, and we just want to stretch our beginning and end. So we're in essence stretching out this middle part, and we have to tell the keyframe stretcher to do so. So we want to go from 30 to 88. So on our keyframe stretcher, we can start our stretch from 30 and end it at 88. And if we go back to our little edit page here, we can now drag this out, and our title is going to last and then fade out at the end. So wherever we stretch this, our title is going to work accordingly. So if I bring it in, if I want it to fade out here instead, I can fade it out there and we're good to go. And that's what the keyframe stretcher node is for. It's not changing your time, it's changing the actual timing or stretching the timing of your keyframes of anything in between that you tell it. If you notice, our keyframes are shorter here. Now they're going from there to there because we shortened up our clip. And this will work on anything that's ahead of the keyframe stretcher. So if we have a whole bunch of animation going on, we want to make sure this keyframe stretcher is at the end of it, telling it what to stretch within our little time area there. So those are the main time nodes. So we've got our time stretcher, which is actually stretching time where we can keyframe the time to speed up and slow down. We've got our time speed and our speed warp nodes, which are just a single speed change that we can do and we can't animate it. But remember, if you're using these two, you're probably better off using the speed warp instead of the time speed because it just works faster and better. And it doesn't need the optical flow to work better. And then we've got our stop motion, which adds just a stop motion effect and changes timing that way. And then we've got our keyframe stretcher, which stretches our keyframe or our timing of our keyframes in between so we can drag and change the length of our little titles here. So there we go. I will see you guys in the next episode of Learning Fusion.